Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. This week, Mayor William Neary gave his State of the Township address at Monday's Town Council meeting. We'll have highlights from his speech, as well as information from Amy Fisher and Al Nigrin about the New Jersey Film Festival taking place now. Diane Deolveira speaks with Laurie Rosenthal from the CARES organization about juvenile diabetes and the support that's available. First, here's a look at some programming coming up in February here on EBTV. Tune in Monday morning at 11:30 for home and gardening information on At Home with Peggy. Our live coverage of the Town Council meeting begins at 8 p.m. Monday and is reshown Tuesday at 7 p.m. Wednesday evening, Dolly Vasta speaks with WCTC radio host Jack Ellery at 7 p.m. If you're a fifth grader or the parent of one, you'll want to watch Spotlight on Education in February. Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., we'll show Welcome to Hammersholt Middle School, an orientation video hosted by student Jesse Marino. The program will take future students on a tour and highlight some concerns fifth graders may have. Thursday's lineup includes Access New Jersey at 6 p.m., Conversations with Judith Lebline at 7 p.m., Amy Fisher at Large at 8 p.m., and high school sports coverage of boys basketball at 8:30 p.m. Check the EBTV Community Bulletin Board for our complete schedule. At Monday's Town Council meeting, Mayor Bill Neary gave his State of the Township address. Here's an excerpt from that speech.
In my State of the Township presentation this evening, I will highlight last year, 2002, and present an overall vision for the administration's goals in 2003. Building upon our past successes in improving our roads and infrastructure, stabilizing our municipal tax rate, preserving open space and farmland, and defending the right zoning for 25% of this community will continue. But I believe our changing world and economic climate requires some fresh initiatives for 2003. First and foremost, the state of East Brunswick Township continues to be excellent. We continue to be blessed with safe neighborhoods, superb schools, a solid infrastructure, a strong financial position, extraordinary township services, and a wonderful, diverse community. We are well on our way to improving the quality of life for our residents by preserving even more open space, attacking long-standing traffic bottlenecks, upgrading our municipal infrastructure, while keeping a close eye on every tax dollar we spend, and providing avenues for our residents to be heard on the issues affecting them and their neighborhoods. These objectives have been our priority for the 6 years that I have been honored to serve as your mayor, and while we have been extremely productive, it is important that we continue to stay this course. The number one complaint I hear from our fellow residents, and clearly the complaint being heard in Trenton, is that we must curtail development. The complexities of state land use laws, private property rights, and economic realities severely limit local government's ability to close the proverbial barn door. This does not mean that we can afford to shrug our shoulders and surrender to these harsh realities. Our strong resolve to follow the state master plan, to employ smart growth practices, to keep our local farmers productive, reduce congestion in our schools and our roadways, and to preserve our community's high quality of life is essential for the future of East Brunswick Township. I urge the newest members of the Township Council to embrace the strength of the previous Township Council and to share their vision and the commitment for our tomorrows. Right zoning is the only way to close the barn door and to stop the creep of suburban sprawl, without which East Brunswick would be no different than our neighbors in the north. We cannot allow this opportunity to pass us by because of ill-informed rhetoric and political posturing. Our success or failure in this endeavor will be our legacy, and I for one pledge that I will never back down in what I believe to be so necessary for our quality of life and for our children's quality of lives. In this State of the Township, I want to highlight some of the accomplishments and innovations of the last year. I feel the need to reassure our residents that in spite of these difficult times, their municipal government is still responding to its needs and functioning on their behalf. Our Department of Public Safety has again in 2002 demonstrated that their reputation as consummate professionals is well deserved. In the 6 months since we established our 3-member driving while intoxicated enforcement team, which was made possible with the aid of a state grant, our officers made 162 DWI arrests, 51 criminal arrests, and issued an incredible 840 traffic summonses. The combined effort of the Patrol Division and the DWI enforcement team has resulted in a total of 549 DWI arrests in 2002, making East Brunswick Police Department #1 in the state of New Jersey. Our violent crimes last year dropped 14% from the previous statistics. We now have the lowest violent crime rate in the county. The fifth lowest crime rate in the county. And in spite of their successes on our behalf, they have been busy preparing for the challenges ahead. The department has added an automatic fingerprint identification system, which achieves responses to searches of all major crime databases within 35 minutes. Officers are receiving specialized training with the United States Customs Service in the areas of narcotic enforcement and with the federal government in the area of identity theft, credit card fraud, and computer crimes. We are continuing to install mobile video recorders in our marked police cars, and by the end of 2003, these devices will be installed in every single marked police vehicle. The overwhelming success of our library continues to be a shining star in our community. Voted the best in Central New Jersey once again, and the most widely used municipal library in the state, is definitely an honor to be proud of. But at the same time, it creates challenges for our future. The Volunteer Library Board and our professional staff are aware of the needs for improving on our success. But 2003 will be a difficult year to do any significant enhancements. I am fully cognizant of the issues regarding the need for culturally diverse publications, addressing crowded conditions, building limitations, and the need of technology enhancements. But unfortunately, I don't believe this is the time to undertake major expansion plans. The staff and the library board have always faced these difficult challenges with enthusiasm and innovation, and I am confident that they will continue their success again as we face even greater challenges this year. Our planning engineering department again this year had a full plate. They oversaw and managed the third and most extensive phase in our sidewalk and curb improvement program. With their help, improvements at the intersection of Tice's Lane and Route 18 is much closer to becoming a reality. In 2002, the New Jersey Department of Transportation awarded East Brunswick a $3 million grant and approved the concept plan to improve this intersection. This grant was made possible through the tireless efforts of Senator Barbara Buono, who we are pleased to have with us here this evening. Residents clearly saw where their tax dollars were being spent on roads in 2002. Final paving was laid on Fern Road from Fernwood Court to Dunham's Corner Road. And Fern Road was reconstructed between Old Stage and Buffalo Run. Visitors to the municipal complex or library welcomed the improvements of Civic Center Drive, and finally, long overdue drainage, curbing, and pavement improvements were made to Ruse Lane. And after years of planning, improvements have commenced on Riders Lane. The benefits of a safer road and improved traffic should be realized in the spring. And yes, the Peach Orchard Light will be part of this improvement. With the assistance of the volunteers of the Traffic Advisory Board, we are fortunate to receive over $500,000 in state grants for the construction of a bikeway and a pedestrian pathway along Riders Lane. These enhancements, combined with lighting and benches, will connect Brunswick Square Mall to our municipal complex for those who would prefer traveling on Riders Lane without their cars. Besides the healthy exercise, it will also create a visually pleasant appearance for all the travelers along Riders Lane. With the dismissal of objections to the improvements to Fresh Ponds Road, plans to execute this project are moving ahead. Besides providing for your weekly garbage and recycling service, snow removal, maintaining our water system and parks, our Department of Parks and Public Works have been busy resurfacing tennis courts at Bicentennial and Country Lane Parks, and adding 2 new tennis courts at Community Park. In addition, they are finalizing the plans for the soon-to-be-open skateboard park. They're moving ahead with improvements to Welsh Park and the Crandall School play area. Recently, at a gathering of professionals involved in senior citizen issues, we were congratulated on the fact that our senior center has one of the most comprehensive and varied program schedules and facilities in the county, and perhaps in the state. It occurred to me that maybe I was taking for granted all the services and programs we provide for seniors. When I came back from this meeting, I sat down and reviewed exactly what our senior center and our Commission on Aging offered. And quite frankly, I was in awe by the level of services that are available to the senior citizens of East Brunswick. These services are provided through a combination of sources, including the Township, community volunteers, and the Friends of the Senior Center. Our community is also very supportive of our seniors by volunteering daily to deliver meals delivering Meals on Wheels. Last year, delivering 10,663 meals, and volunteers who visit seniors in hospitals and nursing homes, and the Friendly Callers program, where seniors make weekly phone calls to many lonely and isolated residents. And although I realize we are not responsible for school taxes, as your mayor, I feel the compelling need to urge the Board of Education to be sensitive to these frightening economic forecasts and the burden it places on our residents. Our state officials have not guaranteed increased or even stable state aid for 2003. I feel that the large increases in the school budgets the past few years and the need to establish confidence in the new administration are reasons enough to avoid any major expansiveness. The partnership that we've forged with shared facilities and lower bonding charges have saved our taxpayers a great deal of money over the past few years. And I know that we share the same goals for the future. My support for our schools has not wavered, but I share the community's concern about big property tax increases. I understand that our obsolete school funding methods are the root of this problem. However, I still urge the Board of Education to be cautious and conservative with their 2003 budget. I want to assure the residents of East Brunswick that as your mayor, I share the same anxiety. But at the same time, let us all work together to ensure that we keep East Brunswick a place where we feel confident that we are prepared for and can provide the necessary support to handle emergencies or adverse conditions. A place that provides the services and programs that we desire. A community where diversity, culture, and art thrives and is encouraged. A town where we live within our means and have meaning in our lives. And finally, a place where vision and caution can coexist without stifling our dreams and our hopes for a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher, and I am in the Channel 3 studio with Al Nigrin, who is the Executive Director, Curator of the Rutgers Film Co-op and New Jersey Media Arts Center, which is a big mouthful. Hi, Al.
I'm sorry about that, Amy. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Well, tell us a little bit, first of all, about the Rutgers Film Co-op and the New Jersey Media Arts Center. What are they? When did they start? And
well, the Rutgers Film Co-op was set up as the University Film Society back in 1982 when I was a graduate student to kind of beef up the offerings in the area. And it's grown into this monster called the New Jersey Film Festival, which is what we present under. We run 3 of them annually. There's one in the fall, one in the spring, and an international version in the summer. And that's been going on since 1994.
Mm-hmm. So that's very big job then for you to do all of this.
Yeah, we started off with about 20 programs back in '82. Now we do almost 130 annually.
Wow.
So it's grown into a very wonderful monster.
Now, the reason you're here today is because the Spring 2003 Festival has started, and it will go through April. So what are some of the things that you're featuring?
We're featuring a Jean-Luc Godard retrospective, and many people don't know who this wonderful French New Wave director is. He really changed the language of cinema back in the late 50s, early 60s, and he's been making films since then. His most famous film is called Breathless. It stars Jean-Paul Belmondo and Gene Seberg, and is known for its innovative use of what's called a jump cut, which is a term that's used in cinema where you take out a piece of film and images seem to move from one space to another in no time. So he really was instrumental in changing the language of cinema, and he started to perfect location filming. So we're doing a retrospective of his work.
Great.
He just released a new film, which we just showed last weekend, and we'll be showing some of his more wonderful films throughout the season.
Al, that sounds really wonderful and very interesting. What other films will you be showing?
Well, this weekend we have one of our coups for the semester. We'll be showing a wonderful documentary called Butterfly, which focuses on Julia Hill, who's a very attractive young woman who perches herself at the top of a redwood tree to save it from loggers in the northwest of the United States. And this is a film that documents her 2 years perched up at the top of this 180-foot tree. From 1997 to 99. It's a wonderful film about how every individual can make a difference in the world.
Yes, I've
it's
read
really
about
great
quite
film.
a bit of it. Now you want to talk about a little bit about the films that we show in the
Well, we have a very
posters?
political season out there, and I think it's what's out there in the independent community, since we primarily show films that don't make it to our area. And The Trial of Henry Kissinger is one, which is double billed with a documentary on Fidel Castro that we're showing at the end of March. Bowling for Columbine played in a number of theaters, but of course no place close by. And we're actually partnering with the Eagleton Institute at Rutgers to show these two films. And then we have a number of other wonderful films like Satin Rouge, a belly dancing film that's really quite sexy by a woman filmmaker, Morven Caller, by Scottish filmmaker Lynn Ramsey, which features Samantha Morton, which everybody knows about these days. And we have a feminist take on Dracula by Guy Madden, who is the David Lynch of filmmaking from Canada. And this is his newest work, and we're premiering it in the state for Valentine's Day. It's the perfect Valentine's Day film.
Now, is the schedule of the films available to members of the public?
Yes, absolutely. If you have access to the web, you go to www.njfilmfest.com, all one word, and you click on screening schedule to get information on our programs, or you can just call our telephone number, 732-932-8482, and we have a refrigerator-friendly schedule we can send you as a hard copy.
Oh, that's great. Where are the films shown?
The films are shown in various venues at Rutgers University. On Thursday nights, we show mostly revival films, and that's in Laurie 024, which is on the Douglas College campus of Rutgers. It seats about 100 people, and we've usually filled the space on Thursday nights. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're in Scott 123, which seats about 400, and that's for more of the first-run films. And then we have one free showing at Borders in East Brunswick. They have been a long-time sponsor, and we'll be showing a film about the overpopulation of cane toads in Australia. A really interesting film.
That's an interesting topic. Unusual, I would say.
Once again, man screws up his environment, and this is a film that focuses on how the Australians wanted to take care of a cane grub problem for their sugarcane crop, so they imported these toads from Hawaii. Half of them died along the way, and of course, they weren't interested in the grubs at the same time that they would be hatching, since they're from a different part of the world. And there's no natural predator for these creatures. They're now all over the place. So it's a really great film.
Now, do you have to buy tickets in advance to
That's a very good question. Actually, all of our tickets are first come, first served. We're not like the New York Film Festival. You usually can get a seat to every one of our showings, especially if you get there 15 minutes in advance. We have sold out the large space in the past, but it's the folks that get closest to 7 where most of our films begin at 7. Actually, all of them begin at 7 this season. If you get there right at 7, you might get turned out. So basically get there as early as you can, as early as 6:30.
I know, and people who go to New Brunswick are always worrying about where to park.
There's no problem with our parking. We have 2 large university lots that are made open and available to our constituents to park in at no charge, and it's right next to the building and handicapped accessible.
That's great. Now, do you go to all of the screenings of everything?
I must admit, in the last few years, I haven't. I'm trying to have a life because after 22 years of doing this, I only go on Friday nights. And I have a wonderful staff that takes care of all the other screenings. And I may pop up at one of the other ones, but like I said, I have a family, and I have to take care of my own.
Yes,
and, you know, it's a job now. So it used to be a labor of love. It still is. But at the same time, I'm trying to finish some of my own films.
Oh, and you are a filmmaker yourself?
Oh, sure.
And I read that one of your films will be shown during the festival. Is that
That's
true?
right. I always add one of mine to help boost the prestige of some of the more emerging filmmakers. This is a film that was just shown at the Museum of Modern Art as part of a retrospective on 8mm filmmaking. So I threw it in just to kind of give the kids that are participating in this program to feel like they're with a heavyweight, even though I don't consider myself one.
That sounds great. Now, one more question. Who chooses the films that you show at the
Well, it's done by committee. You know, the label curator is a very, very suspicious one. I'm a vessel, and I take a lot of suggestions in, and I try to give the community what they want. Bowling for Columbine and The Trial of Henry Kissinger were both requested by film co-op friends. But basically, wherever we can get somebody to underwrite a film program, there's a number of films that have a French flavor to them. We were subsidized by the French Embassy. We also got money from various departments at the university, the Center for African Studies, the Students for Environmental Awareness. They helped underwrite most of the films that we're showing. So it's wherever we can pay the bills. We're here to break even. We don't lose any money. We don't make significant sums. We're here to show good movies.
And that movies that you can't see anywhere else in the area.
That's right, for the most part.
And that's what's really great. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Amy.
And we'll look forward to coming to Rutgers and Douglas to see some of these
We'd
films.
love to see you and your audience.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Has someone in your family recently been diagnosed with diabetes? You now have somewhere to turn for help in understanding the disease. Hi, I'm Diane Deolveira, and with me today is Belmead mother Lori Rosenthal. She has been instrumental in starting the CARES program, connecting area resources for education and support for diabetes families. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you.
Now, your 10-year-old daughter, Lindsay, was diagnosed with diabetes when she was 6. How did you know something was wrong?
We didn't know at first, and then she lost some weight. She was having to use the bathroom a lot, drinking a lot of milk, which is not usually her favorite beverage. So we brought her to the pediatrician where we did a test, and then she was immediately hospitalized.
And were you shocked to find out that she had diabetes?
I guess I knew from the symptoms, but I didn't want to know. She had a very good friend who had diabetes, so we knew some of what to expect, but it's still very overwhelming and very devastating.
And in finding out more about the disease, that's what led to the creation of the CARES program. How did you start that?
Well, because we were so overwhelmed, I was wishing that someone had walked into the hospital room where Lindsay was and said, look, this is not an easy disease to have, but it will be okay. Here's a support group for you. Here's somebody to call and talk to if you need.
And there wasn't that available?
No, there was nothing like that currently available.
So how many members are currently in the CARES program?
There's somewhere between 40 and 50 families. Unfortunately, it's been growing, especially recently.
And how often do you all meet?
It depends on the area. Certain counties meet every couple of months. We have some family events for the whole chapter. We had a barbecue at the end of last summer, and we're planning an ice skating event in the next month or so.
What does CARES offer?
CARES offers a couple things. The first is for newly diagnosed children. It offers them a first contact. We bring a bag of hope with this teddy bear who wears a medic alert bracelet and has areas for shots and for blood sugar testing, plus a number of books and a contact. So we bring the bag of hope, or the bag of hope's delivered. We make the phone call. We say, look, I'm here if you need anything.
And the bag of hope contains, as you mentioned, some books, also a CD on cooking tips, because your diet changes once you have diabetes. You have to change some of your regular daily habits. One book that I thought was really interesting is Taking Diabetes to School. Children are very naive sometimes, and they want to know more about it. They're curious, and I understand this was very helpful for your daughter Lindsay in explaining to her classmates what she's going through.
That is a great book, and I recommend that to anyone new with the disease. She brings it in, she reads it. It explains to children that diabetes is not contagious. It's just a part of their life and the things that they have to do with diabetes.
And what are some of the other books that you'll find in the Hope package?
There's Sugar Was My Best Food, I think it's called, and that's for a little bit older kids. There's a book for adults. There's also notebooks to help you keep logs of how your child is doing.
And when the group meets, when the CARES program meets, do you all discuss different treatments, or maybe, I know there's so many different things now for diabetes, whether it's wearing a gluco watch or different recipes. What do you do when you meet?
That's exactly what we talk about. Whatever is on everyone's minds, whether it's what testing equipment are you using, what's the best snack before you go to bed, is there a summer camp for your child to go to, just anything that's affecting you. How do you deal with blood sugar level testing in the schools? Whatever issue is on your mind, and sometimes it's just about getting together and having the kids meet each other and saying, I'm not the only person who's going through this.
How has the response been from families who find out about the program?
This is what they were looking for. They're happy that someone else is there. They're happy they have a phone number to talk to. We just met with one family who has a daughter who's had diabetes for a while, but she was approaching adolescence, and I was able to connect her with another family with an adolescent daughter who had already gone through those issues. And so then they could talk about it and do what was best for the child.
And how often do you all meet?
It's not a set schedule. We, because of the nature of the disease, each county has a leader, and we get together as we can schedule it.
And for people who want to find out more about the CARES program, what should they do?
They should contact the JDRF office in East Brunswick, and the telephone number is 732-296-7171.
And the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation also has a website. Is there a link for the CARES program on there, or can they find out?
There's not a link for the CARES program specifically. There's a link to the Mid-Jersey chapter, which is the chapter in East Brunswick, and the phone number is there.
And for people who do want to find out more about JDRF, for that website?
That is www.jdrf.org.
What else do you want people to know about the CARES program?
Well, I'd just like them to know that there's an organization, a passionate organization there wanting to help people and support each other, and that they shouldn't hesitate to call if they know anybody who has the disease.
Lori, thank you so much for being with us. We're making a difference. I'm Diane Deolveira.